would say good morning, but I'm not going to say good morning because I'm feeling blah, not blah sick, but just blah. I know I'm not the only one here that feels blah.
True.
But
True.
I just worked 7 days in a row, and
Poor baby.
which by the FAA was only 6, but I'm pooped. Can I say that in church?
You can't say poop, no. Somebody's probably coming down and take you away.
Retract that.
Yeah.
So I saw in the video from last week that you all had a great conversation about fear of the Lord, reverence. In chapter 20 of Exodus, where Moses and Aaron went up to the Lord, and the people ordered Moses to speak to God to them, because they said, if God speaks to them, we'll die. You know, so, wow, Moses, take our place, because we don't want to die. I just had that thought. Was that kind of the same, like, when my daughter says, Dad, you go ask Mom. And rules, don't do this, don't do that. They don't say that much anymore, but if someone did, what would you say to them?
Rules are set up for a reason, and that's so that you don't go through the stop sign so you don't cause an accident. And the reason that you obey the laws is because you care about not just yourself, but your whole community and the people around you. It's to help you get along with each other.
That was fabulous, Karen. And the great thing is you gave a everyday example of the stop sign. I try to do this when I talk theology with people. I try not to stay up here. I try to come down to the practical level. A stop sign is there to protect people, right? So that's why every single stop sign, I stop completely. And the definition is when the car rocks back on its chassis. That's the definition of a stop. I do that every time.
Like the little old lady in Edmonton.
Oh, that was different. Yeah, they put up a stop sign where we were living in Jersey, but it wasn't before. This little old lady just go through right through the stop sign. And you could tell she was like, I've lived here all my life. I didn't have a stop sign. I ain't going to listen to it now.
She never stops.
Nope.
We all see her, we stop because we know she's not going to.
And it's like yellow lights. There's another thing I'm guilty of, yellow lights. You know, I try when the light changes to look first before I go, even though the guy in back of me has a timer. Within 0.0005, you're not moving, honk! But, you know, I'm looking for the last guy like me trying to run through that light. You know, rules, very good, Karen. I'm gonna steal that. What about you? You mean, nasty, bossy parent. All your parental do's and don'ts. I don't know why I threw it in there, because we already talked about it. Are you interested in enforcing your rules upon your children? No. We talked about that. They're there for a reason. You know? And I thought of the verse, Paul's verse, when I thought as a child. So my wife was explaining this to my oldest. You don't know how, what the word is, precious, how wonderful it is. Because we went some really, really hard times with that child, didn't we? Really hard times.
Yeah, she was a difficult
And now she's like, Mom, what did you do? Mom, she's like, you know, she keeps telling me, you know, you two people never fought in front of us. I don't remember it that way, but she says, I was so, you know, because I guess, you know, her new situation, she has a little bit of a relationship interchange. And she was saying, like, my wife was like saying, you know, you have to remember that children young girls, children, come from their point of view of being a child. When I felt as a child, I thought as a child. That's all they know. So, why do I have to do this? This is so unfair, man. I saw that one movie I said the other week. You know, the girl said, she was 14, just let me live my life. Oh, I need some money, you know. But my wife says, but you're the parent now, so you know both points of views. You have the big picture as the adult. They only have the small picture as a child and what a child wants. And that doesn't work. You can't have candy every meal. You can't eat a little tiny thing of dinner and then have a big dessert. Well, I don't know why that example popped in my head. Do you, honey? No, I don't know where that came from. Like, do you think we're stupid? Did you have enough to eat? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet within 30 seconds. Can I have dessert? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny, because I did that. When God issues all these stupid rules, just let me live my life, you stupid God, he is, like Karen said, really looking out for our best. Look at verse 12 of chapter 20. Why does it says, honor thy father and mother. And of course they put father first. Yay! I don't know what that means. Honor your father and mother. Why? Because God says so.
So you live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you.
Right. It's called the first commandment of promise. Honor your father and mother so your days may be prolonged in the land. That's funny. I always thought, well, why did God do that? Why did all of a sudden he listened to the 10 Commandments and then ding, he adds this little extra part in there. Honor your father and mother. So, I would say teenager, I know it's a drag, man, to your parents and their rules. And let's be honest, with teenagers, we didn't always have the perfect rules, right? Sometimes we got fed up and we did a rule because we were angry. I mean, I really, really tried to do what was best by my kid, but sometimes I got fed up. And I lost my cool, But teenager, it will make sense one day. It will, I promise you. Maybe not until you have kids of your own. One day you'll see your parents weren't the blithering idiots you think they are. I get it. I thought my old man was an imbecile. And then he got old. And I'm so missing. So, the rules, the importance of rules, this is what I stole from my friend Keith, and I think he stole it somewhere else, is Christianity leads to the most human freedom and flourishing. A Christian society, not a perfect one, will have the most freedom and liberty. It's not about pulling down all these bossy, institutions as critical theory, but it's rules bring freedom. In fact, when a people rule themselves, society is better. You can't come up with enough police state to keep people in line. We've seen this in history. People will not stay in line eventually. When Afghanistan, Iraq fell, did you see the people? I remember one scene. The people were pulling down a statue of, not Idi Amin, oh my goodness. Who was the guy in charge of Iraq? Hussein? Saddam Hussein. They were pulling down, and standing right there was some American soldiers just standing there with their rifles like this. Because they understood. You try to have so many rules, eventually the people rebel. But if they rule themselves, there is liberty. So, why do you want the best for your kids? Why did I ask that? Why do you want the best for your kids with all your
God wants
rules?
the best for you.
What?
Because God wants the best for you.
Okay, because you what? You love them. We talked about this. You actually love your children, right?
You love your children. Some days you don't like them, but you always love them.
Right, you want the best for them. I was talking to a mother, and she said, you know, my son deserves to be happy. And I was trying to keep my mouth shut. Like, now is not the time to tell her, marriage is not about happiness. Marriage is about family. Happiness is a byproduct and down on the list. Right? Family comes first. So, because if you make happiness the standard, how can a marriage survive if happiness is the ultimate goal? Even though I'm sure my wife would say she's happy 99.95% of the time.
Yes, dear.
I don't think her face is saying that. Okay.
What I'm flying people saying to me now, because they knew me. I had a guy come up to me yesterday in Orlando, and he's talking to me like, hey Kevin, how you doing? Hey, where are you living now? And I'm sitting there going, hey, hi. I'm going, I have no idea who you are. He was my co-pilot sometime, and I just can't remember him. I've been there so long. But he's like, where are you living now? They all do that. I say, Vermont. And they all go, Vermont? I said, you know why I live in Vermont? Well, no, because my wife said I'd be happy there. Are you? Everyone betrays me. Yes. I say, because my wife is usually right. Anyways, love. But doesn't your God call himself jealous? See, God is selfish. So remember, by definition, God is a perfect being. A complete being. Perfect meaning complete. So when he's jealous, he's perfectly jealous over you. And this is hard to get, because if all you've ever known is petty jealousy, it's hard to conceive of perfect, appropriate jealousy. Petty, like hypothetically, say some super controlling guy won't let his wife leave even though he's off flying. That'd be petty jealousy, just hypothetically speaking. No, I don't want her to go out because, I said, I can't protect you when you're out. Like, nothing's going to happen if she stays in her castle. But that's just my emotion. Like, where are you? What are you doing? I don't want nothing bad to happen to you.
Nothing bad, just spending your money.
Yeah.
Well,
Spending your money.
in 7 months, that's going to change, right, honey?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 7 months or sooner, depending on if my airline goes under,
Well, I better start
it'll
spending
be a whole new life. Anyways, look at verse 22. It says, what? As far as jealousy.
Not to make any gods to go alongside him.
Right? Because, okay, or maybe, does anyone have a little different wording? They have what?
22 says, and the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites this, you have seen for yourselves that I have spoken to you from heaven. 23 says, do not make any gods to be alongside me, do not make for yourselves
Ooh, sorry.
gods of silver or gods of gold.
Right, so my phrase is, no other gods before me. So his perfect jealousy, why? Because it will be bad if you put other gods before me. Was it Moloch? Whatever, the priests, they put the firstborn child onto the altar, the broiling literally red hot statue. They put the child in the statue's arms, and the child baby would start screaming, and the priest would bang the drum so the parents wouldn't hear the screaming. Are you kidding me? Kidding me? There's a reason God says no other gods. And it goes, he's like trying to be controlling, man. Right, so rules. All procedures we were talking about. And we're going to kind of get into some of them next week. And I'm really requesting you ladies show up, because there's one little part about that I would love your input, your point of view on. But we'll get to that next week. But rules such as no pork, no two fabrics, circumcision, all these were to teach a difference between Yahweh, God, and these other gods. That was the purpose of all these rules. If you ever think about it, it says you will not boil a goat, a baby goat in its mother's milk. Who boils meat in milk? I don't know, maybe that was done back then, but that was a commandment. What?
You may not have a source of water when the goats are with them.
I don't know, hon. But what I'm saying is, why is that a rule with you, God? Like, no two fabrics. Can't have two fabrics. That was an Old Testament rule.
Actually, there's legit science behind that. Look into that.
The milk part of the fabric.
Not the milk part, I don't know about the milk part, but the fabric part, for sure.
Oh. Well, all these intricate rules, not the 10 Commandments, but the intricate rules, were to teach them. That was their purpose. My point is that there's substantive rules of God that speak of his moral nature, and then there's these rules that we don't follow anymore. Oh, see, God can't make up his mind. No, because the Mosaic covenant was designed to teach the Jewish people, you are different than all the other nations around you. You are different. Like circumcision. I was a young guy, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? This is in here? What? Like, and I was thinking, why? Because, how can you tell? But see, I didn't understand. I told this a long time ago. Until I went on my first deployment in the Air Force in 1980 to Egypt. And then I understood. I looked up in the morning, and there at the Egyptian soldiers' barracks, all the guys were lined up outside on the wall. Don't make me go into detail. So they could see each other. Because back in the ancient times, I know you women may not have ever been into a guy's bathroom, because we have something you don't.
That thing on the wall.
Yeah, that thing on the wall, and it's funny, in airports, women's bathrooms, there's always a long line for women for the bathroom. Guys, not so much. But there's usually these divider partitions between each one. And there's a rule. Look straight ahead. Don't look left and right. If you're going to talk, you talk while you're looking straight ahead. And there's another rule that really drives me insane. You don't put your sandwich on the top of the thing.
Gosh, it
Oh
doesn't
my
say that.
Yes.
It doesn't. Because who would do that?
Guys have.
The same guys, and maybe someone's going to be angry, the same guys who get done and leave and don't wash their hands. Well, I didn't on my hands. No, you... Sorry, that's a personal
Yeah,
thing.
we're going down a rabbit trail.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
yeah, you're
And not
right.
a pretty one.
Yes.
Yes, but the Old Testament rules was about washing. They didn't have soap, but they washed. It was ritualistic, but it also served a health reason.
Sure.
In the Middle Ages, they thought using utensils was immoral because God's bounty was supposed to be eaten with your hands. You wonder why there were so many diseases. Anyways, that's why there seems to be. Okay, so we were talking about all these intricate rules, and then we were talking about the substantive rule, the Ten Commandments. And there seems to be a difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. Right? We don't come out with as many intricate rules. In fact, with the new covenant of Christ, the Mosaic, all those rules go out the window. We can eat pork if we want to. Pork rinds. I never understood why people want pork rinds. But you could have pork chops, like in 1981, my wife made me shake and bake pork chops for my swing shift. Those were the best pork chops I've ever had in my life. I don't know why it sticks in my head. Anyways, but these, in the New Testament, but there's a misunderstanding, and I had it. I thought, ooh, New Testament, I'm under grace. Rules don't apply anymore. I can do anything I want, and it's okay. No, that's misunderstanding. We won't go into the chapter Paul talks about. But
the two rules that Jesus put forward kind of cover a lot. The two rules were, firstly, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. And the second being, love your neighbor as yourself.
right.
So those, if you're loving your neighbor as yourself, you're not going to be doing bad to them.
Right. This is what we talk about, policing yourself. You know, God doesn't have, the New Testament have to come up with 300,000 million rules when the overall thing is those things you talked about. But my point is, like Jesus, what did he say about looking at a woman?
Just like adultery, it is adultery.
Just like
If you change
adultery.
in your mind, like,
Right. So he expanded the Old Testament thing because there's certain things that are retained because of the moral nature of God. Fabrics, I don't think that's the moral nature of God. It was serving a purpose. But don't commit adultery because it's betrayal. We are not to betray God. So when we don't betray our spouse, we are adhering to the moral nature of God. When we don't steal, when we honor God, when we don't covet what doesn't belong to us. These are all things that are who God is in his nature that isn't going to change. These Mosaic rules changed. This doesn't change. So I say the Mosaic covenant is fulfilled, it says. It's done. It's put on a shelf. In its place, Jesus reiterated those things that still apply. He spoke of the Ten Commandments. They still apply morally. We don't get to throw all rules out the window because we're under grace. We, in fact, like Karen says, we are still under rules.
Yeah. But that love your neighbor as yourself, for example, all those rules about what you did if you hurt the neighbor's ox or all the stuff, specifics, loving them is a heavier, really heavier.
It is.
As yourself. So
It's
like,
a
if
bigger
you're-
blanket, yes.
It's more than just not doing them harm. It's more than not doing them harm.
Oh.
It's, you know, to love your neighbor, but you don't, you know, he's not going into every specific thing if their, you know, if their cow, you know, runs over your pasture, you know, there's all of those. But really,
Right.
that covers it,
That's a
and
good
more than
point.
covers it, really.
I like that. A bigger blanket. You have two things today I'm going to steal from you, Karen. I like that. Because I'm finding that talking in metaphors really helps when I have discussions with people. You know, sometimes I try to make it simple, but I can see their eyes rolling back in their head when I talk about the cosmological, theological. But you know, stop signs are there for a reason. Yeah. So, all right, we talked about the moral nature of God. The Ten Commandments are still in effect. Is God's moral nature still in effect? We talked about all those things. So next week we're going to unpack some of the rules, very select though, because I'm not, you know, like these broadcasts. When I listen to broadcasts when I'm driving, I'm finding I'm also doing like my wife does. I listen to the oldies station. Huh? Where did that come from? But when I listen to sermons or whatever guys, and they go, we're through the Bible. We're going to go verse by verse. I'm like, oh, can you imagine spending 2 years going through Leviticus? Ugh. But we're going to take a few to spark conversation. And like I said, ladies, I'd really love to be here because I want your viewpoint on some specific of these. I'd like to know what you think. So, there we are. Any last thoughts, comments? Discussion's been very nice today. Thank you.
I have a comment. This is more than a comment, really. I've been writing down notes. I was listening to it was a study. It was not a religious or a Christian study on parenting.
Yeah.
And they were looking how parents parented. Were they strict with rules? There was four things. Strict with rules, lenient, so with very little rules, a very loving, open,
Right.
or a more austere sort of parent.
Oh, yeah.
So there's like 4 of them. And in my mind, and they were talking about where the strongest, best adjusted, and mentally healthy children come
And?
from. I thought it might be lenient, a more lenient and loving family.
Right.
I knew it had to be loving. I knew loving had to be part of it. It's not. It's the loving with strict with rules. If they are strict, but they show the love to their kids, like they have rules, but yet they are also loving, you know? The ones that did the worst are the strict with rules with austere parents. That was the worst group, where the kids didn't feel loved, but they had lots of rules, and they were expected to do it, to, you know, follow them. So I just think, and that's exactly what the Lord gives us. He's got rules, and he's loving. And I remember thinking first, again, it wasn't Christian, it was just, you know, like an FYI for parents, like how do you do this thing? This was years ago. And I thought, so that's it. They need rules, of course, and some of it seems obvious, but in some ways, maybe it's not as obvious, but loving with rules, that's the most mentally healthy and adjusted children.
We're all kind of young, but my one aunt grew up in the 20s, as a child in the 20s, and parents were still that Victorian, we say, very austere, no hugging, you don't say you love, very rarely do you say love, you're just stoic.
Yep.
And you know, kids need hugs. I
Yeah.
tried to hug my kids.
Parents need hugs too.
Yes! Yes, Karen. We need hugs, but not a lot of hugs in church. Not a lot. Just, you know, guys, hugs, 3 pats, we're done. But, you know, hugs, it works sometimes. The mechanics come up and fix something. They say, need anything else, man? I said, yeah, I need a hug. And they go, I say, the answer is no. Oh, yeah, no. Like, oh.
The best one.
Father, we thank you. Oh, what a great day, Lord, to learn about who you are. That you're not just all these rules, or you're not just all love, but you're the right, perfect combination of that. Lord, amen. Sometimes I need a hug from you. Lord, sometime. Thank you, Jesus.